Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Data Insights podcast from ConverSight. I am Ganesh here. Great to be part of the next episode. And today we have a special guest, Eric Sluss from Net at Work. Eric, welcome to the show. And we are looking forward to have a great discussion. You are part of this industry and helping a lot of customers on their ERPs and supply chain, a lot of stuff. So I am equally excited to learn and understand what's happening about the market and challenges and all that. So first of all, if you could just give an introduction on your company as well as your role, what you do, that'll be awesome. Thank you.
Thanks, Ganesh, and I'm happy to be here. So, my name is Eric Sluss. I'm a Chief Information Officer, and I run NetAtWorks Fractional CIO and Advisory Group, where we provide part-time fractional CIOs to organizations, really in the US and Canada, help them go through their digital transformations. And a little bit about Net at Work. We've been around for 30 years, and what we do is we help organizations unleash the power of their business through the use of technology. And I kind of like to give this as an example is that like 20 years ago, CIOs were largely responsible to lead IT departments. And while
Yep.
that's true today, like that's actually a small part of their jobs today is to focus on maintaining and operating your IT department because a lot of focus today is for a CIO, they're the transformation executive. They're
Yeah.
focused on planning and executing digital transformations. And Net at Work, we are in a way your outsourced transformation team is that we provide ERP, CRM, HRIS, employee experience platforms. We have CIOs and fractional BAs to focus on business process reengineering programs and project managers to focus on driving and enabling that roadmap initiative. And so Net at Work is a fractional CIO that comes with a part-time CIO, as well as all the different capabilities and software and platforms and experts who can take that roadmap that a CIO would put in place and actually implement each of those different projects and initiatives all the way through to get them to their future state where they are unleashing the power of their business through the use of IT.
That's great, Eric. So, Eric, I know some large companies will have CIOs and the smallest may not need a CIO. So what's your, the profile of customers and do you focus on a specific industry?
Yeah, that's a great question. Our customers really range. I have customers that do over $1 billion a year, and they're using us for fractional part-time
Nice.
CIOs. And then we have customers that are $10 million a year businesses, but they're nonprofits and they have not invested in technology for 25 years and they are behind and they need to catch up, as well as a lot of organizations that are growing and or experiencing pain points. So I most of our clients are usually in that category of we're either growing and or we're experiencing pain, so they need our services to come in and put a future state vision together, put a plan together, and
Mhm.
sometimes even help them execute that plan to get to the better state.
Awesome. I think I can feel like the kind of challenges and thing, and we'll talk about. We'll slowly uncover. 10 years back when we think about technology, IT, there's a huge data center, servers, all that, and on top of it, lot of softwares. Most of them were homegrown from mainframe to
Yep.
Java to Visual Basic too. And then we have seen the cloud wave, we have seen the digital, we have seen AI, now this agentic, and in between you need the quality of data like good system of record like ERPs. I'm sure you're swimming through that all that entire version of that thing. So
Yes.
maybe let's start with uh, take an ideal customer, like what's a problem they are facing today? Like, is it their legacy ERP is a problem or they don't have AI readiness? What's the problem?
Yeah,
Number.
yeah. I think there's two types of customers we see most often. And let me
Mm,
just kind of give you both flavors. The first customer says, "Wow, we're so inefficient, we're so mismanaged. We're growing, we have all sorts of challenges. Our competitors are really beating us up.
mm,
We need help and we don't feel like the systems are right. They feel old, they look clunky, or people say that they aren't giving them what we need. We know AI's out there, we don't even know what to do with it."
yeah.
And so typically I find those types of customers are usually operating on what I would call a legacy ERP, if they're even using a legacy ERP. You and I have an understanding of ERPs are like Sage X3 or Acumatica or something like that. But a lot of people, like to your point, they built their own,
Yes.
or they're on an old AS400 system, or they're on Microsoft Great Plains or a software that's been end of life. So those organizations are ripe for both what I would call transformation and modernization. And then we get, and you kind of understand where that roadmap would head. Then the other type of customer we get says kind of the similar thing, except they say we just implemented a bunch of these solutions and we're still dealing with all these issues. And then we need new solutions because I guess the ones we bought weren't right. And so I always say, all right, well, let's look at what you have. And so we open the hood up and they're on NetSuite. And this is one of those softwares that Network works really well with. And we're going, okay, your distribution company, you're on NetSuite, you're saying you want to buy something else. We're going, there's something that's not adding up. You probably didn't implement it correctly. And my version of digital transformation, CIOs focus on transformation. A transformation is really focused on enabling your people, and it's training your people how to use the systems correctly, as well as
Mhm.
getting your processes right and structured and best practice. And a lot of times we see people, organizations, they'll modernize and transform. That's the goal, but they actually modernize without transforming, and they'll take all their bad data, all their bad practices, efficiencies, and dump them into a brand new system and expect different outcomes. And so those are the two customer profiles that we work with often, and
Right.
it involves the same thing as, well, why don't we work with you to understand where you're at, do a future state vision, put a plan together to get you to a better state that includes a little bit of projects, initiatives, and then in 12, 18 months, it's kind of a completely different company.
So now, since we are talking about ERP, obviously a lot of supply chain is involved, and supply chain has gone through a lot of challenges in the last 5 years or so.
Even
From
4 weeks.
right, like
Yes.
pandemic to global geopolitical and
Yes.
tariffs and a lot of stuff, right? So when you are hearing from these companies about their current ERP is not working, and then you said, okay, it's a legacy ERP, what are the business symptoms, or is it from a leadership, the CEOs, CXOs, or CFOs not getting the ROI and not getting the visibility, or the people like sales and operational people, they are not able to automate, or they are doing a lot of manual work, they are very reactive? What are some of the business problems which is considered, oh, this IT system need to change?
Yeah. So especially around supply chain management, a lot of times what we see is when you're talking about these legacy ERP applications and
Mm.
legacy CRM applications, even if they might not even have a CRM application. There's a lot of businesses that
Yeah.
do 100 million a year in revenue that are managing everything in Excel. For me, first of all, it's understanding, well, what systems do you have in place? Because to your point, a lot of times I'll show up to people and do an assessment of their current state, understand what technology they're using. Their 20-year-old ERP system usually does have a supply chain function embedded in it. But then on the flip side, we find that some guy named Jeff, who's worked there for 18 years, built this souped up Excel file,
Yeah.
and that's where he does all his magic.
Yes.
And it's entirely manual. There's a lot of intuition. It's described not as much of a science as an art. And even if you do get into a modern ERP and transform and go about it the right way, there's still a little bit of art in that. Like, I don't want to take away
Yeah.
that focus because there is an art, but for a lot of these legacy customers where they're using spreadsheets, there is way more art and intuition and just tribal knowledge than there ought to be. And so I think that's the main thing that I see. The other thing is we've really had our supply chain shaken over the last, like to your
Yes.
point, 6 years. So COVID, number one, tariffs again, and now we have the Strait of Hormuz. And I think me and talking with business leaders, I think most business leaders, if they haven't over the last 2 months, sat there and said, how is this going to impact our operations? How is this going to impact our suppliers, our customers? I mean, whatever business you're in, you're going to be affected somehow, some way, from a vendor standpoint, from a customer standpoint. If your team is going out and traveling internationally, that's all being impacted. So I think there's a lot of considerations, and especially over the last I'd say 12 to 18 months with what's been going on from a geopolitical standpoint, these systems are breaking down.
Yeah,
And the art and the science form, these systems are used to receiving inputs, and now they're starting to receive very different inputs than historical data has indicated, and it's throwing things awry.
absolutely, absolutely. So now so you're receiving this, the problems, we are hearing these challenges from the customers, and obviously they have a perceived notion of, oh, my ERP is old or my ERP is legacy type, right? So, but as you mentioned that it's not necessarily the technology, it's also the adoption, it's also their process, all that, right? So
Yeah.
now, in your view, what is the percentage of companies where their current ERP can be good enough where they just need to change the process, adoption, and bring analytics and AI systems versus they need a brand new ERP? Is there a percentage like
That's a
50%?
hard question to answer because in theory, most systems, even if it's 20-year-old system, you can hook up.
Yeah,
Technology can all speak to each other.
yeah,
Now, what I tell people is if you're even you might have bought the system 10 years ago. That doesn't mean it's a modern system. That system,
yeah,
I deal with companies all the time, where they've been
yeah,
using a system that was developed in the late 80s, launched in the early 90s. They bought it 10 years ago because they didn't do their due diligence, and it's very high risk of being named end of life in the next 5 years, if not the next 30 days.
yeah,
And so I tell them, like, hey, you're at this fork in the road. So you're not getting the outcomes that you want. AI is here, and you need to make a decision as to whether you want to continue with your current system. And I would say, with your current system, you can modernize and optimize as much as you can, but there's a
yeah,
limit. Whereas, and then you face the risk that you do this and it's end of life, and it might be
yeah,
5 years. It might be, they might announce it in the next 30, 60 days. I don't know. Or if you do move to a newer, more modern SaaS based ERP platform that comes with, a lot of them come with built in artificial intelligence. A lot of them come with these
yeah,
um, modules built in that whereas for these legacy systems, it is cost prohibitive to buy some of these. I mean, they're
absolutely.
super expensive. Whereas with these modern ERP, you get it out of the box. You're not paying extra for it, and it's part of the integrated platform. And then instead of with the legacy ERP, they focus on modernizing a little bit, but really optimizing what they have to as much as they can get out of it. If you move to a modern ERP that has all these capabilities, AI, workflow, automation technologies built in, you're talking less about optimizing and more about transforming.
Also, adoption come into a big play, like the change management, right? If the company is used to do an ERP for last 10, 15 years and changing into, and yeah, that's another thing. Like it's not a small change, but we
It's
need
not a
to,
small change. No.
yeah,
And these projects, ERP implementation projects, they're not technology projects. To me, they're really process and people projects. And that's one of the reasons that they fail so much. Gartner did research and found that up to 75% of these projects fail to meet
mm,
their objectives, which is astounding. That is a incredibly high number of failed projects. And to me, the main reason is people approach these, they
yeah,
don't do the planning correctly. They don't understand what they're signing up for. And they think it's a technology project, but it's really a people project. It's really a process reengineering project.
yeah, yeah. To that context, right? So at ConverSight, when we are going and adding this analytics and AI, the decision intelligence, I would say like more than 60% of our customers have an on-premise desktop-based ERP.
Oh
Like that's
boy. Yeah,
right. So, they have a database and they are used to, especially in manufacturing. Think about manufacturing. They're using this in plant. Their core focus is to deliver these items at on time without like stock out. And obviously the manufacturing companies, they don't make a lot of money. They're very, very slim margin, right?
mhm,
Some of these large ERPs or large modernization exercises comes with a cost, right? So
that's right.
what value we can add and all that. So that's surprising. Obviously, lot more and more new customers are in SaaS and modern ERPs, but then, you can name it like from Sage to Every company has an ERP. Like even though, like Microsoft, for example, they have an amazing dynamics, but then you have a lot of great planes and
That's right.
still, right, thousands of customers. Like I'm amazed to see like there's a desktop company as we are partnering with and all that thing. 10,000 customers, like each one I see like so at least 100,000 plus customers are still ERP and desktop. It's amazing to see. Now let's switch the gear a little bit. Okay, now that ERP is there, they do need to modernize, move to cloud, and bring all the process. But then, what do they get? What are
Yeah.
the use cases or problem? Are they struggling in predicting the future, like the forecasting? Are they having too much stock outs? What are the, how do you prove that the ROI? What symptoms, what problems, which is quantifiable so the CFO can approve, yes, here is your $500,000 or $1 million, go get complete new system. What is that?
Yeah, and I'm glad you mentioned that because a lot of times people hear from technology companies, you need a new system, and it's like
Yeah.
they're trying to sell me something. But we took a little bit of a different approach here at Net at Work because most of our clients are small and medium businesses. And we said, well, what is a digital transformation to a small and medium businesses? If you talk to your leading consultancies and technology firms that focus on Fortune 500, they're going to tell you there's 22 aspects of a digital transformation or 15 outcomes of digital transformation. I'm not going to argue with them, but they're dealing with enterprise, which is a completely different segment. But for Net at Work, our small and medium customers, we said, like, what are the key outcomes of a digital transformation for those
Mm.
customers? And we believe there's 4 outcomes of a digital transformation. The first is to streamline your processes.
Okay.
Most organizations are operating inefficiently. Most enterprise organizations are
Oh
operating
yeah.
inefficiently. The second is to digitize all the physical paperwork that people still print off to run their day-to-day operations. So for the listeners out there, if you have a lot of paper, that's a lot of printers still in the office, you're printing invoices, purchase orders, sales orders, you're walking stuff down to Jenny's desk down the corridor. That is what I'm talking about. We can
Yeah.
digitize all the physical paperwork. The third outcome of a digital transformation for us is enabling the employees. It's giving them the right types of tools, training, org structure, job roles that they need in order to do their jobs successfully.
Yeah.
And then the fourth outcome of a digital transformation that we focus on is the customer experience. It's giving our customers the experience they want in working with our customers, and quite frankly, the type of experience they deserve.
Yeah.
A lot of times we hear, oh, well, we can't do this for our customers because our technology is holding us back. We
Yeah.
don't have the right e-commerce platform, or we can't tell them when these items are going to show up because we don't have supply chain visibility. That's
Yeah.
that's an awful customer experience. So I'm going to boil all that down because I know I just talked a lot, but our focus here at Net at Work for small and medium businesses for the 4 outcomes of a digital transformation are streamlining processes, digitizing paperwork, enabling employees, and the fourth is the customer
Customer
experience. Now,
experience.
did you notice I didn't mention something? There's something I didn't mention in there. I didn't say anything about technology.
Oh yeah. Obviously, it's a process experience. Yeah.
Our focus, our belief is that technology is the tool to facilitate those outcomes. But first, we need to figure out what does our processes should look like? What's the future
Mm.
state? What types of paperwork do we want to digitize? What type of customer experience do we want to give our
Give
customers in
them. Yeah.
12 months, 3 years, 5 years? We can find the technology to put in place, but first we need to figure out what the vision is, put together the strategies, and then we'll slot in the right technology. They might even have the right technology today. They just never did that thought
Yeah.
process.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Like this week, I was talking to a company where they serve a very large, consumer goods company. They send data in EDI. I said, like, is it still in EDI? Like they haven't, but they have
Oh, there's
Ariba.
still EDI. Yep.
They have Ariba, but then Ariba is sending EDI to this company, and then they put that in an IBM system, some old database data,
Mhm.
and from there they take it to another ERP, a bunch of things, right? So as you said, it's about, and then in return, the problem is, we are not able to give the visibility to the customer, right? And we are not able to track whether when we can deliver this order, right? That's one of the things. Like as soon as the salesperson get an order, the first question, "Hey, guys, when can you deliver this?" That's a great question, but you know, there's maybe 3, 4 people I need to consult before I give an answer, because do we have an on-hand inventory? Do we have an open
Yes.
purchase order? What's the lead time? How much it will take to ship it? A lot of data points. And it's all over the place, right? So yeah, the customers are looking for, especially today with all the digital, customers are also like, today when I go order in Amazon, I immediately get a text and mail and or when my order is coming, where it is trending. They know the technology can do it. Now,
Yes.
if you are not doing it, then you are considered legacy. You're not.
And they think you're lazy for not giving them a great experience. And that's
Absolutely.
there's a lot of times I'm a consumer and it's like I can get this product, but their website looks old, it looks outdated. What are they going to do for my information? It's not telling me what the shipping cost is until I get to the point where I enter my credit card and then boom, it's going to tell me. I'm like, I can buy the same product off Amazon.
Yeah,
And I get all that up front. So it's your customers are Amazon set a certain bar, and a lot of people need to try to catch up to that if they're going to be competitive. They're selling
absolutely.
to
Yeah.
consumers or even B2B.
Yeah.
A lot of businesses, your customers are hiring people in their 20s and 30s, and they don't want to pick the phone up and call you and ask where this order is. They want to go in, log in, and boom, it shows them where the order is. That's
Yeah.
important.
Oh, yeah. Visibility is one. Second, the kind of companies like Amazon, how they optimize their inventory based on the sales pattern and demand pattern. Like what period, what will sell, which two products are bought together. It's a lot of analytics, a lot of analysis on that. Like a lot of. Now, maybe let's switch little bit towards more
Sure.
technology. Right? We both are technology. Let's understand. There's a lot of news about AI, agentic AI. And we mentioned about even several of our customers are not done with their cloud migration yet. They still have a lot of on-premise going on. The cloud digitalization and cloud itself is not fully done. Now we are talking about AI and agentic AI. So what are you hearing from your customer leaders about their appetite towards AI?
It's all over the board. I hear people say, we're not really sure if AI is a real thing. We don't know if it's going to stick,
Mm,
which I think is incredible. It's they are
yeah.
so behind that it's shocking. It's to give an example, when social media came out, there was a lot of publishing companies that said, we don't think we're going to do social media. We don't think we're going to promote our newspaper or whatever for
Mm,
on social media or industry magazine. They're gone. They're gone. Like they had to change, or they're just out of business or got acquired. And I view AI as very similar. We have on the other hand, we have a lot of people that say we know AI is here, but we're trying to do stuff we're not sure. And I think the big thing with AI is like, if we're taking a mid-market company as an example, like, has your executive team actually been formally educated on artificial intelligence? Yes or no? And most of the time it's no. Like,
mm,
have they gone? And I'm not talking about getting like a 2-year degree in AI. Like, no one needs to be a chief AI officer. But what I am talking about is like going through a 1 or 2 day workshop to do AI education, what is applications for your industry, practical hands-on experience using tools like ChatGPT, Copilot, that a lot of businesses and quite frankly your employees are using today and don't realize it. And we've developed that here at Net at Work. We offer these workshops because we've seen this. They know AI is here, but they haven't been trained on it. They don't have a path forward, and part of our workshop focuses on getting them that training, and then getting them, like, here's the areas that, like, doing a current state assessment, saying what are your pain points, what are your challenges, and
mm.
getting them a list of like 10 areas that they can immediately start using AI. And I'm not talking about deploying like a massive AI platform to sit across all your systems. I'm talking about generative AI, where
Yeah.
you can start using it within the next 30 days, even by the end of the week,
Yeah.
to get results. And
Absolutely.
me personally, I use AI in my personal life, but I'm very select on what I give it. I'm not sending it pictures of me or my family or anything like that. And we have the right security and profile set up for it. But, from vacation planning to, hey, this part broke on my dishwasher and I don't want to pay the plumber $500 to show up and tell me what's wrong with it and then come back and install the part after it arrives. Yeah, we figure that all out with ChatGPT.
Yeah. Yeah. There is an amazing potential, and as you said, it should start from the leaders, right? I think it's
Yes.
changing, right? Like, one of our, in fact, we enjoy a great partnership with Net at Work and a lot of our joint customers. How they have started. I still remember there was a company we started our partnership. 18 months back, they were struggling for. They were using some legacy planning system, and not demand forecast was not accurate and all this. We took over that exercise. Then from there, now they are done with all their, asking a question to getting report, dashboards and planning. But recent conversation was like, now they are all used to this cloud and other systems, right? Like, people want like, what? I just want like, they want to ask, give me a purchase recommendations for this vendor. Then the AI should co-pilot should just go do all that, do the demand forecasting, demand supply planning, lead time, all that. Give me what I should do. Like I still remember that 18 months back when our teams together, what I was personally involved and they were like, guys, here's the giant Excel we are using for thing to the experience what they are looking for today. Insane. But it's all start with the leadership and adoption. Are they hungry or do they have a quantifying problem which they can quantify and qualify?
Mhm.
All that matters, right?
And I think a lot of times it gets back to everything's inefficient and you
Yeah,
don't have visibility. And the executive team knows that. I mean, they can sense it. Let me get back to you. Well, can you let me know by 1 o'clock? Oh, I mean, I'm not going to be able to figure this out. It's going to take me 2 days just to get all this.
yeah.
That that is ripe for transformation and AI acceleration.
In fact, like people are like, recent conversation, like, to create a new item, new part, I'm clicking like 7 times, or to create a bomb, I'm spending like 15, 20 minutes to create one bomb. Like
Yep.
I just need to tell it. Like, so the expectation on ERP companies are also increasing, right? They're
Yes.
expecting like, this is this is the same old bomb. I'm just making a change. So why do I need to spend 30 minutes to create, do this, a lot of steps, right? So
That's right.
amazing, amazing opportunity. So now, typically, when you think about some company who want to do like agentic AI and AI, do you have like somewhat an assessment you do, like their data readiness and people readiness? Is that a assessment? How do you?
Yes. So we build it into our overall current state assessment, which is our part of our strategic planning process. Because, and here I'll give this example, and I think this is super important. I get a
Mhm.
lot of times where people say, the executives, they say, we want to use AI, and then they give an XYZ use case. And I say,
Yeah.
okay, that's great, but that's really a workflow. That's an automation. There's no intelligence involved.
Mm,
And so we focus on the whole strategic planning process because there is such a misconception about the artificial intelligence aspect versus automation and workflow technology,
yes.
which AI can be involved with automation and workflow, but workflow and automation don't need AI for a lot of
Yeah.
use cases. It's logic, it's input, send it through logic, and then you get specific outputs. And so the way we approach this, because we're not going in with looking for the AI magnifying glass on everything. We're going in saying, okay, well, where do you want to be in 5 years, 3 years, 1 year? What does that all look like? We do our current state assessment, which again focuses a lot on people and the processes. Like, okay, what works, what doesn't work, what are your hopes, your dreams, your challenges? And we meet with each department: finance, AR, AP, sales, purchasing, HR, supply chain. And we go through and understand like what's working well, what's not working well. And then we put together a roadmap that gets them to that 1 year, 2 year, 5 year future state vision. The roadmap, it's not fancy, but it's here's the different projects or initiatives that you need to undertake to get to that future state. And we've been doing these since 2015. I mean, we've been doing this for well over a
Yeah.
decade. And the interesting part is we have always, in every roadmap, I went back and looked because it was a fascinating question. There has always been an artificial intelligence
Oh yeah. Yeah.
part.
Some
Whether
part.
that's stuff that is less glamorous, accounts payable automation with OCR technology that we've been implementing for well over 2 decades now, or that might be order entry automation. Everything doesn't need to be Chat GPT and Claude, right? And so that's how we approach AI roadmaps. Now, we do have some publicly traded companies that they say our board is asking for an AI plan. So as part of that, we build out go through our strategic planning process, build out our roadmap, which includes technology projects, people projects, transformation projects, process transformation projects. But then we'll take the AI components in there and build them out a separate AI roadmap so they can
Mm.
go show to the board of directors. But our focus is like you shouldn't like just like ERP, you shouldn't just buy a bunch of technology and implement it and hope to
Yeah.
get different outputs. What's the strategy? What's the vision? And then what do we need to do to make sure this is successful to actually drive outputs? And you mentioned earlier, we're focusing on small and medium businesses. And my belief is that these people don't have the capital or the resources to go through and do experiments. They need results, not experiments. And that's the
Yes,
focus.
yes. And also like with all this SaaS and digital, they are all using multiple systems. It's no longer one system, right? You have a
Right.
CRM, you have like inventory itself, like how many places we have. We have two, three warehouses, we have an Amazon, we have Shopify warehouse and consignment inventory in some places, right? So even to get to know how much on-hand inventory we have and when we are going to stock out, it's a very, very complex task if the data is all
It
over the
is.
yeah, yeah. So I know the time flies, so I want to get into a conclusion. I know we discuss a lot about the companies, their maturity, their ask, the ERP and all that. I'm sure a lot of people want to follow up and have a discussion with you. So how do people can connect with you, Eric? What is your medium and how do people work contact net at work?
Yeah, so you can go if you want to connect with Net at Work, you can go to our website, www.netatwork.com. Or if you forget how to spell that, just type it in Google search, it's Net at Work. Or if you want, find me personally on LinkedIn, connect with me on LinkedIn. I'm posting once or twice a week on topics very relevant to this discussion that what we're seeing on everything from ERP and modernization to CIOs and automation and artificial intelligence, and really trying to make it a no nonsense, very practical speak so that everybody from your boardroom to your server room guys can understand what we're talking about and what our views on technology and transformation are. So go to our website or reach out to me directly on LinkedIn. We'll also put my contact information in here as well.
Awesome. That is great. Thank you for sharing the details and thank you for your time chatting with me and enlightening our audience and people who are following ConverSight and myself, Ganesh, and LinkedIn. Looking forward to have many more sessions. And Eric, we will have you back. Maybe
I
you'll see
appreciate that.
more agentic AI in the next 6 months or so. Maybe later this year, early next year, let's have another session and see how this year is going. I think every year we are seeing the implementations and technology is faster than what we think and implement,
It
right? It's
is.
evolving.
And I'd love to come back and talk about what our artificial intelligence practice is building for our clients, because that's what's
Yeah.
getting me up in the morning these days. It's riveting and it's transformative for anywhere from small nonprofits to very large mid-market businesses that are making headways into the enterprise segment. So it's been a pleasure, Ganesh. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks a lot for your time, Eric.
Take care.